you know me, I tend to be someone who's on the go, always go, 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 go. A previous version, a previous identity, a previous version of myself, I wouldn't take a lot of rest. And because of that, there were lots of times where, because I chose not to take rest, the universe would decide when it was time for me to rest. And that's no bueno, no good. When you let the universe decide for you, that's when you get sick, so that you are forced to rest, that something happens, and that you can't move your body. And it's better if you make the decision on your own. So because I've learned about my inner cycles, that's when I started to build rest into my month. Right? And so I purposely use it as a signal to deliberately slow down. So just like there are 4 seasons in Canada, or the 4 seasons that we experience, in the outer world, women have 4 inner cycles to represent the inner world. And it's called cyclical living, and it's been around for a long time, and we've just forgotten about it. We've forgotten some of the wisdom that we used to gain from doing this. So there was a time where women would be the oracles and guides for their tribe. So once a month during their cycle, when they were bleeding, they would gather together and they would plan the upcoming cycle, the next cycle for their tribe. And even now, you can see this in dorm rooms, and if there are women living or working together, then you will see that their periods might start to sync. They might happen around the same time. You may also notice that there are different versions, you have access to different parts of yourself during different times of the month. So sometimes you might feel more intuitive. Sometimes your emotions you might feel more emotional. Sometimes you may get more irritated easily. And that comes and goes according to the different hormones that are being released in your body. And if you're aware of that, you can plan around that to maximize the efficiency or maximize that time. So let's say there are peak times where you feel more intuitive, or where you're closer to your emotions, closer to your intuitions. And those are the times where you might give yourself more room to access your intuition, or give yourself more time to contemplate and to journal and to go inwards. So that's some of the things that we would do. And when women were oracles of their tribes, what they would do is, at the peak of their intuition, they would all gather and they would decide things like, okay, where is the next best place to search for food and shelter? How do we go about taking the tribe to the next place? Where are there signs? Where are we intuitively seeing signs of predators that might be coming towards us, or signs of dangers? How are we feeling about the changing of the winds? Is it the coming of a new season? And should we be changing our behaviors to match the season that's coming? And so the wisdom of that has started to be lost. And, with the advent of the pill and some of the other ways that you can take hormones, some people don't experience their period. And that could be good and that could be bad. There's no judgment on that. It's just accessing the wisdom of the inner season. Okay, so if you have irregular periods, if you are in menopause and you no longer have a period, we honor whatever season that you're in. Just the more information we know about it, the more you're able to access what's there. Okay, so that's why we're learning this. We're learning to bring back some of the wisdom, or to tap into some of the wisdom of being one with nature, and of tapping into the power that is nature. Okay, so in the season of inner winter, this is when your period starts. So it starts the day, inner winter starts the day that you start bleeding. You count that as day one. Some women may feel winter start a day or two beforehand, okay? And it continues until you emerge into spring, and that's when your bleeding stops. Okay, so inner winter is when your bleeding starts, or a day or two before, until you emerge from inner spring, which is when your bleed stops. Okay, so let's talk about in nature what happens. In the winter, it's a slower time of year, right? Usually animals go into hibernation, the temperature drops, the trees are bare, the fields are barren, there's hibernation, there's cover, there's snow, right? Socializing takes place indoors and less outdoors. The foods that you want to eat tend to be like soups and stews, which are more warm and nourishing. So we think of winter like cozy and snuggly and sitting by the fire and being introspective. So some of the characteristics are, as your period arrives, or just even a day or two before, you might notice yourself starting to slow down, like physically, mentally, energetically. You might feel heavier because there's water retention or some weight gain, water weight gain. And some people, they might start to crave rest, kind of like entering your own hibernation. Okay? So you might crave more denser food, getting more calories, and you might need more sleep and just want to read or watch TV. So just as in nature, the inner winter in us is a reflective and introspective time. It's a time to rest. It's a time to rejuvenate. So rest is really important during this time. And as you start to know your inner cycles better, you'll start to notice some of these patterns. So your body, the reason it needs more rest, it's already doing a huge job shedding your lining, right, of blood, mucus, bodily tissues, and that requires energy. And so you might even also have symptoms, right, like PMS, cramps, headaches, fatigue. It'll make you even more tired. So if your periods tend to be fairly regular, you can track it with an app, you can track it. There's lots of apps now that you can track your period. And so some of the things you want to do in the winter, in your inner winter, it's about rest, reconnection to yourself, nourishing your body, nourishing your mind, nourishing your soul, and really ask yourself, what is it that I need? Right? And you might not want to schedule. What it might look like in our outer world now is you might not want to schedule a lot of things, social activities at that time, because you might be needing more rest. And for myself, this is one of the biggest breakthroughs I've had, is that when I'm in the inner winter, I allow myself, knowing that I need more rest. I used to push through it. And now I was like, okay, you can take a nap if you need it, right? Maybe slow down a little. I intentionally give myself the rest that I never gave myself before. So inner winter was a good period for me. Inner spring. So after winter comes the spring. Your period ends, your inner winter transitions into that inner spring, which is usually a signal, is like a return of some of your energy. Some of the symptoms that you've been having starts to lessen a bit, right? And you kind of have this desire to get back out into the world. If you have a short ovulation cycle, meaning you ovulate early, or if you have a short cycle, your spring might be shorter as well. And if you have a long one, like if you have PCOS and your body takes a while to ovulate, you might have a longer spring, okay? But your inner spring continues until you ovulate. So in nature, what does spring feel like? So we want to ask ourselves, what are the characteristics in nature and how can we bring that into our life? We think about spring as the end of like a freeze, right? The snow starts to melt, the flowers, you start to see the buds coming out, the animals that were in hibernation start to come out, days start to get longer, and the temperature starts to increase. Spring is also a time where animals give birth a lot. right? Creating new cycles, new life, new cycles. The grass starts to get greener, the leaves start to appear on the trees. So spring is that renewal time, waking up fresh. So if you had taken the time for inner winter to rest and recover, then now you're looking at building up more energy, having more energy. So your period comes to an end, you have some outward energy returning as the estrogen rises in your body. If you've rested, reduced some socializing, you may want to start seeing people again. This is what you would innately feel like doing. Okay, so it can feel like when you're in your inner spring, that is like coming out of a cave. You're coming out of your hibernation. And life can be a little more brighter, a little more optimistic. You might also get some more physical strength that starts to return. If you start tracking, you'll notice that sometimes like during the inner winter, where your body requires more energy, you might not feel as strong physically. Okay, and then your appetite might start to ramp up as well with a different type. So usually it's less cravings for carbs and sugar and more cravings for fruit and veg. So how do you align yourself to this inner spring? While you may be feeling a little more energetic and wanting to do more things, we also have to recognize that this isn't the summertime yet, right? And some people, they peaking too early, they might feel it could lead to burnout in the summer. So aligning yourself with spring means that you treat yourself with gentleness, just like you would if a baby little chicken just hatched or a little flower was starting to come out. So spring is a good time for detoxing, like dry brushing, putting some lemon in your water in the morning, drinking some fruit smoothies and juices and veggies. Holding on to your boundaries is good for this time so that you don't take on too much too soon. Starting to exercise more. Maybe in inner winter, you might just be going for walks, and then you might want to start doing more weights and heavier cardio as you get into the spring. It's a good time to try something new and something fun. That is inner spring. Inner summer, because with spring comes summer. Right? Although we tend to think that menstruation is the peak of the cycle, it's actually ovulation, right? Because if you don't ovulate, there's no period. And so ovulation is inner summer. It's when your hormones are at the highest and the egg is released in hopes of fertilization, right? So most people, they really love summer. So in nature, we always think, especially here in Canada, when it's winter, we're thinking of the summer. The skies are blue, the sun is shining, the nice long days, there's no school. It's like nature is fully expressed. The leaves are all on the trees, they're all bright, the birds are chirping, all the things. The flowers are blooming, they're radiant, the trees are luscious, and so many animals are in their mating season. So just like nature, in the inner summer, it's a time for self-expression. Right? You might find that you want to go out more often, make dates with your friends, socialize. From a biological point of view, it's a time where pregnancy can occur. So you might notice that some of your drive starts to increase, okay, whether you actually want to have children or not. And there might be this feeling where you're feeling strong, like you're on top of the world, you can do anything, you have tons of energy, you can be around a lot of people, you want to socialize, and basically it's easier to do all those things. Right? You might have a little less appetite for food because you're just so busy being in the outer world. So summer is really where winter is about hibernation, summer is about pleasure. So if you have projects that you like to do, meetings, things on your social calendar, it's a great time to attend all these things, right? When you're in the summer, we want to prioritize having fun, having pleasure, whatever that looks like for you. It could be a walk, it could be just sitting in the sun, it could be, going to a patio with your friends, whatever it is that you desire. Right? And then there's also in the inner summer, we want to make sure if it's aligned with the summer season that you're getting your vitamin D. Okay. And then comes inner autumn. So what happens in nature in autumn? So after ovulation, the estrogen drops off and then the progesterone begins to rise. And for some, the transition from the summer to the autumn can be gradual, and for others, it's abrupt. And your inner autumn continues until your inner winter comes back around, or just a few days before. For some people, again, they feel inner winter a day or two before they start to bleed, and then some people just feel it as soon as it starts. So in nature, after the expansion, the warmth, the joy of the summer, autumn comes down. It could be a little bit of a shock. Sometimes we're like, oh, how did it get so cold so fast, right? The leaves start to get crispy on the trees, the flowers begin to wither, some animals start to stock up their food for the coming winter, right? The start of autumn is also time for harvesting. Okay, so with the last of the summer crops, we start to prepare for the colder winters and months that are ahead. This is in the nature. The days get shorter again, the nights get longer, temperature starts to drop. Okay, so in your inner autumn, it's the premenstrual phase of your autumn. That's when inner autumn is. And it tends to sometimes get a bit of a bad rap. And you know, because a lot of people have symptoms, it's easy to see why. So after feeling all the energy and amazing and social in the summer, it starts to wind down in the autumn. And it could feel like a little bit of the opposite because it's starting to, you're starting to go back into that inner winter. So you might find that it's harder to hang around certain people, you have a little less interest in what you're doing, and you kind of you're more craving some time alone. So just like in nature, autumn is a time for letting go of what you no longer need so you can concentrate on hibernation and sustaining yourself over winter. Okay. Some people enjoy autumn though, right? Like nature, summer can be really exhausting. And if you've done too much and you're overheated and you have too much energy, autumn might help to balance you out. Again, it's really dependent on each individual, right? And you might, after having like people over at your house and socializing, you might enjoy some alone time. And so for others, autumn isn't time to start to gather your energy and regather your focus. You might be getting things done with less distraction. So after the summer, where all the energy is focused outwards and on social events and your interests and all the juggling everything, autumn is about turning inwards, aligning yourself back to you, checking in with yourself, making time for yourself. If you're someone who has a lot of strong PMS symptoms, then you might want to protect your energy and calendar. So you might not want to make we live in a time where we can't just hibernate for a week, right? We still go to work, we still have schedules. However, you can decide not to do the extras, right? Where you might go and socialize, you can now decide, all right, I don't need to book as many things on the calendar. So when you're planning with the cyclical living, you can take a look at, and this is if your periods tend to be fairly regular, you can start to track. If they're irregular, then you're going to have to go with how you're feeling, right? You can be like, oh, I'm feeling more intuitive. I know I'm more intuitive when I hit this part of my cycle. It's just getting to know your body more, right? And so some of the things you want to do for yourself in autumn is start setting some boundaries, right? Instead of scheduling a whole bunch of appointments, decide, okay, who is it that I do want to spend most of my time with right now? And how can I help protect the energy as I go into inner winter, right? Take time for yourself if you can, start your journal practices, prioritize your sleep, especially as you get closer to your period. And then you can also help support your liver in removing extra estrogen by cutting down on alcohol, coffee, and other things that stimulate your nervous system and your body. So those are the 4 seasons, inner seasons, that we have. Inner winter, inner spring, inner autumn, inner summer, and inner autumn. So with those characteristics of the outer world, there are changes with the inner world. And then if you can match up some of the behaviors that you have, some of the foods that you intake, some of the rest that you have, then it's not the same linear go, 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 go every single day. You prioritize in the right season what is required so that the energy can peak. If you're all using up, let's say you're in inner winter and you're using up all the energy and all the reserves that you have, when it comes to spring and it's supposed to be a season for go, 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 your body's like, no, 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 because you weren't able to prioritize. And again, I'm not saying that everything in the world needs to shift and everyone needs to know like what part of your cycle you're in. We just want you to be more aware than you already are, right? Take one step in the direction of, let me just learn what my body's telling me. I know a lot of my patients, when they start learning about their cycle and their body, is actually when they are deciding whether they when they're trying to conceive. And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, I know what day I'm on, I know exactly what happens. But the part we don't talk about is like, how do we connect our body with the innate cycles that are happening each month and in nature? And then there's moon cycles, and then there's sun cycles, and all the different things. There's all these different types of cycles, and they all serve a purpose, right? They all, without the moon, we don't have the tides, right? Without the sun, we don't have all the grass and everything that we have because of the sun. So everything is needed. And the more connected you are to your cycle, the more connected you are to who you are internally, and when different energies and when different needs, the different needs of your body, you can really tune in to what is required and what your body is asking of you. And if you imagine, if we ignore our body during our cycles, which is what we've been taught to do, and keep going and maintaining status quo, then when your body's asking you, hey, listen to me, I'm hurt, what do you say? Most of the time people are like, okay, no, you're just annoying me right now. This pain is annoying and it's keeping me from going with my life, right? What if the pain was there to serve you? What if the pain is your body trying to get your attention because it doesn't know any other way? We don't pay attention to our body until it's in pain. And then we go, oh, why is it in pain? I don't know why it's working. Why is it stopping me from doing everything that I want to do? And it's because we never paid attention to it. If we paid attention when it was just a little bit, when it was just a little bit off, if we knew right away at the beginning, then we wouldn't have to wait until it starts knocking louder, right? How easy is it to break a habit before it's even a habit? Let's say you catch your kid doing something. Let's say I catch my kid biting his nails. Well, if I stop him the first time I catch him or the first time I see him, it's a lot easier to stop. However, if they're in the habit of doing it and always biting their nails, then, and that's developed and that's ingrained in there, it takes a lot more effort, right? So if you start listening to your body when it's talking to you, when it's whispering, then it doesn't have to start screaming for you to listen, right? But oftentimes we wait until your body's screaming and we go, oh, why are you screaming? Why are you yelling at me? You know, why are you keeping me from doing the things that I want to do? Why are you keeping me from living the life that I want to live? And most oftentimes it's because we weren't listening. Maybe we aren't living the life that we truly want. Maybe we aren't living the life that we desire. Maybe we don't know, we can't connect with our passions. Maybe we can't hear our intuition. Maybe we've forgotten that art because we can't connect to our body. We forget about our cycles. We forget about, the access that we have to the wisdom that's within us. We search on the outside for what we're missing when it is actually found on the inside. The great sages of all the times, like Buddha, you know, everyone who has left wisdom for the earth has always said, find your answers within. And then we search everywhere else. There's a saying that says, like, if you don't go within, you go without. And I see that often. Let's look for everybody else's opinion. I want to know what everybody else is doing before I find what's right for me. And then we make up our opinion or our decisions based on what other people think that we should be doing. So that was our Embody Your Cycles workshop. Now I want to tell you about something super exciting that I have planned for next month. So next month, let me just check the dates. I believe it's June 3rd. Yes, Monday, June the 3rd until Monday, June the 10th. I'm doing a 7-day immersive. It's called Embodied Identity. It's a 7-day journey to explore your life's purpose, why you were here through the lens of identity. And we're going to discover the identity that changes it all for you. This is some of the most amazing work I've been doing that has changed my life the absolute most is identity, this piece about identity. So in the 7-day journey, where I'm going to go through like the parts of you that you've outgrown, the parts of you that are still playing small, the identity that holds you back from having the life that you desire, and then how to change it right now. And you know, what if you're healing? I know a lot of you are going through some healing challenges and you're like, how come I can't heal? I feel like I'm stuck. And one of the pieces that I also talk about is how healing can get stuck in an identity. So it's not the healing that's stuck, it's the identity that's stuck. And the healing just gets caught up in there. And so how is it that we liberate ourselves from the identities that we're stuck in? Because you're not meant to settle. You're not meant to live a mediocre life. You're meant to be able to reframe the past and the traumas that you have gone through. You're meant to play a bigger game, right? You are meant to live a life that you desire, you specifically desire, whether that's in your finances, your relationships, your health. You know, you were meant to make the level of impact that you desire for the world. You're meant to help and serve in the ways that you want to in the world. And so the embodied identity 7-day journey is for you if you desire something more in life, if you want to look at how you got to who you are, how your past has shaped who you are today. And if you want to live more with a sense of excitement and purpose for your future, and you want to shift something that's been stuck, and you know that you're here and that for a bigger reason, that's going to be what we delve into over the 7-day journey. So with the journey that we're embarking on, it is going to be 2 live calls, one on day 1, one on day 7, and then 5 days of training and support in Telegram. And then you're also going to be in a group with everybody who's in the program. And it's going to be so much fun. I'm so excited to deliver this program. The investment for the 7 days is $88. So I tried to make it very cost effective. And so, yeah, you get 7 days of training, $88. I'm going to send the link out if you would like to join, if this calls to you. And I would love to have you there. So that's going to be in June. And so the next free masterclass is going to be sometime in the beginning of July. I will send out the information as I create the class. So thank you so much for being here. It was lovely. I can't wait to see you in the 7-day embodied identity journey if you'd like to come on that with me. And if not, we will see you for the free masterclass in July as soon as I figure all that out. So I will talk to you soon. Bye.